Hi everybody, my name is Vlad. My talk is going to be in many ways very opposite to what you've just heard. So none of the mindfuck stuff. This is going to be very easy, maybe taking you a little bit back in time. Basically, my talk is about how easy it is to use A-Frame, which is a WebVR framework, and get started very quickly with WebVR. I've started this project with a friend, Marko Bogdanovic. He's unfortunately not here. He's the true mastermind behind this. It was his idea, and he has the most experience. Right, about me, I'm on day 59 of the first round of 100 days of code. So if I say anything stupid, maybe somebody can explain to me why everybody's laughing afterwards. Marko has quite a bit more experience. I'm just going to get right into it. So the project was started doing a hackathon, the Coder Dojo hackathon, which had as a target, kids. They organize courses for children, and they try to get kids between 8 and 17, I believe, to start coding, to learn how to code through different projects. They use also some hardware. I forgot. I think it's a microbit that they use. Yeah, and that's also coded through JavaScript. And basically, for this hackathon, we were all supposed to come up with anything that would help the kids, get interested in coding, learn coding, and so on and so forth. We basically used A-Frame, which I'm going to show. Actually, who is familiar with A-Frame? All right. So this will be interesting for some of you. A-Frame is a framework which builds on top of Three.js, and it allows WebVR to be implemented with the help of HTML tags, basically. Let's see. So this is a very simple, this is more or less the hello world of A-Frame, and it would look, if you look at the components, you have some very simple geometric items and a plane and a sky, and it has great also some great documentation. And if you look at the code that we've just looked at, kind of looks like this. Somebody can look around, can move around in the scene. And from a very basic example like this, one can go further into something that looks a little bit like this. Of course, if you have a Google Cardboard or any other type of device that helps you connect your cell phone, well, to your head, if you will, you can activate the VR capability through this. And yeah. All right, so we use this in order to develop a very small game. I'm thinking maybe everybody can just whip out their cell phone and type this website in and have a look at it directly. I think that's easiest. That's the easiest thing to do. You're going to find yourself in space. Well, not in space. You're going to find yourself in this room, actually, with, right, with some, okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm hearing already some successful logins. And if you move your phone around, you should be able to pan the camera and see some aliens at some point, some alien-looking objects. And if you point the cursor, you're going to be able to shoot them as well. They come from every direction. Right. Can we reduce the difficulty somehow? Yes, of course, it's early alpha. Right, so I'm just gonna talk a little bit about how this scene is created. So you've already seen that everything is based on HTML, and every entity in this scene is an HTML tag. The background, for example, the sky that you see here is a simple, a certain kind of picture. I'm going to go, yeah, so the code would look a little bit like this. A-Frame requires loading at the beginning, and everything else has to go into an A-scene tag. Then you have your assets. In this case, we have the enemy models. You have a camera, you have a cursor, all the entities, which can take any shape or form. You have sounds, and basically these would be the resources. Now, if you look at how we manipulate, everything else is basically JavaScript manipulating these HTML tags around. The only part that I had a major role in was this file, which generates the enemies. If you look at this, you see calls to HTML tags and afterwards attribute setting. Oh yes, sorry. Actually, I'm just gonna. Right. And once the entities are available on screen, one can add animation to them, all sorts of properties, rotation, animation, and so on and so forth. The problems that we ran in once we started getting past the very basic elements were, for one, the model. We wanted to use something a little bit more advanced than what A-Frame was offering us in terms of objects. So A-Frame has, of course, cubes, spheres, and so on and so forth. We wanted to use something that looks a little bit more advanced, and so we found a model online, and very quickly we discovered that trying to shoot them doesn't work the way it works with the A-Frame provided objects, because I think the model, probably the A-Frame doesn't have an understanding of that model that we imported. We found it has one Achilles heel where it did register the mouse over, but that was unplayable. So Marco came up with a very interesting solution, in my creative solution. He added, no, it's actually here. He added an invisible A-Frame object to the enemies. So which he create, which basically, yeah, the opacity. He turned down the opacity, but they're always there, and so they can respond to the mouse over of the cursor. That would be one problem that we kind of hacked around. Then another problem that we found was the fact that we wanted to have some kind of a function which decreases the player's life if the objects get too close, if the enemies get too close. We, however, discovered that A-Frame creates the scene like a Big Bang. So everything that would eventually be in the scene starts at coordinates 0, 0, 0. Because the player is at 0, 0, 0, the game would start with the player getting damaged immediately. So again, Marco came up with a hack where he set a check. So during this explosion, when the objects got past a certain point, they would activate the check, and once the game actually started and they started getting closer, going past that check would enable the enemies to hurt the player. And that looks a little bit like this. A-Frame has this model of components which are a type of function which can be added to the entities, and they can modify the behavior of the entities and so on and so forth. Then let's see, one last problem. One thing that we wanted to do, which is what you've just experienced, was the camera input. We wanted to fake an augmented reality experience, and just simply instead of the background which you see here, and it's which is it's fixed, we wanted to have the camera feed as the background, and so we managed to make a call for that, and it looks a little bit like this. This is 99% Marco's work, so I'm just going to show it and avoid trying to explain it, because I don't understand most of it, as you can actually see here. Right. So that would be it for the things that we ran into. As you probably know, when you start a project and you don't have some kind of deadline and an exact thing that you have to achieve, you start to think, oh, how great would it be if we could add this and this and that. So we would like to implement some levels, some difficulty levels, and also like a form of storyline where the aliens start in space, then they end up in basically a city. Okay, master password. All right, this, I guess I can do it like this to show that it's very easy to, for example, to change the background. Let's see if that worked. Yes, so basically we're from space, we've ended up on Earth because they've advanced. And now they're attacking here. And of course, the third level would be in your room where they are attacking you right there where you are, which is what you've just experienced. Yes, that would be it for my presentation. If you have any kind of questions, I'm going to try to answer.